Welcome to the Empowered Healer podcast. I'm Songbird Grandmother, and this is a sacred space where we rise beyond surface spirituality and step into the deeper mysteries of healing, awakening, and true empowerment. Today, we're diving into a powerful topic, the void as teacher, manifestation beyond the law of attraction. If you've ever felt like vision boards, affirmations, or forcing positive thinking just weren't enough, this conversation is for you. We're going to explore how true manifestation doesn't come from clinging to the light, but from entering the mystery, the void, and allowing the unknown to teach us how to create. So welcome, everyone. We are right here, September 17th, as I'm recording this, in the doorway of a very powerful eclipse season. We just finished our full blood moon eclipse, and we're heading into a triple whammy with the new moon, eclipse, equinox. This is the turning point. This is probably one of the most powerful times to manifest. And I wanted to go into this very important topic because a lot of what we see out there in the world around manifestation is not working. So let's dive in. So most of you have heard the word manifesting, law of attraction, think it and you'll receive it. There were the, big hits like The Secret that came out. And just so many books and teachings and videos about law of attraction. And so the idea, this is just a general basic idea, is that if you think positively and if you really focus on what you want, you'll magnetize it to you and poof, there it is, right? Sometimes, you'll see that work. You really will. If it's like a material want that you align to and you think about it, you visualize it, you put action to it, it will definitely happen. But for healers, leaders, women walking the sacred path, there's something deeper. And the real power comes not just from attraction, but from surrendering into the mystery, the void, as we call it, the great mystery. And I think this is really what defines indigenous spirituality versus modern Western Christian ideas. It's that the mystery is the allure. The mystery is the power, the void. When you go into a sacred sweat lodge and it's dark and you're putting your prayers and your songs and you're sweating and you're purifying, you're releasing, you're connecting to the great mystery. And it's a part of spirituality that often gets overlooked. It's the dark matter. It's the dark goddess. It's the earth when you put the seed in and it goes into that void. That is what we're talking about. The void is the black hole, the womb of creation, the space before form. It's the place where the old dissolves and the new is not yet visible. It's very uncomfortable. It's vast. It's often avoided because it feels like nothing. But in truth, it's everything. Going into the great mystery is going into the infinite possibility of all creation. So when people try to manifest only through force, vision boards, endless affirmations, you will hit a wall. Why? Because it's still coming from a place of control. True manifestation doesn't come from control. It comes from aligning with the void, allowing death and rebirth, and trusting the mystery to reveal what is next. So I have a brief ceremony experience that I will share. I was in a very intense ceremony, and it was Spider Woman. Those of you who don't know who Spider Woman is, she's a very powerful aspect of the Great Mother. She creates destiny. She weaves our fortune. She's the great healer, the great mystery. And she showed me that she was building a web. She was healing parts of myself. She was doing, what she does. And at the end of the ceremony, she said, "I have finished my great masterpiece, and you don't get to see it." And she was gone. And of course, I want to see what you created. But right away, she says, "You don't get to see it. Goodbye." And she was gone. And that's the void. That's the mystery. That's what we're talking about today, is that you have a great masterpiece. Your destiny has been woven and is constantly being woven through your decisions, through your actions, through your thoughts, through your feelings, through your emotions, through your aura, through everything that is in and around you. And it can literally be unwoven and woven, but you have to trust that through every decision, through every action, through every feeling, through every emotion, through every guidance, you are moving in accordance with your destiny. And you will hit moments in time where it's not your destiny because everything is out of alignment. When you have a car that is out of alignment and something's wrong, you're like, gosh, this car's just not driving like it used to. There's just something wrong. And you go to check it out and they're like, oh yeah, your tires are all out of alignment, right? And they put that car on the machine and they put it back into alignment. You start driving and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's back in alignment. It feels different. That's like your entire front end, your suspension system on your car is a very delicate part of your alignment, how your wheels hit the road, how you feel every bump. It's the same thing. It's like your intuition is your suspension system. It kind of tells you, well, there's a bump in the road. Something don't feel right here. That's not right. This is not the right direction. I think we're going. It's that subtle feeling. And that's how you truly manifest, is through the mystery, aligning with it. And especially as an empowered healer, you're not here to bypass the void. You're here to enter it, to allow yourself to be stretched, emptied, undone, so that your true magnetism can be activated. In that space, you stop chasing and you start attracting. Just start attracting. That is literally the law of attraction. But it actually has nothing to do with how positive you are or how negative you are either. It has everything to do with you just allowing. It almost requires a neutrality, a place of being neutral, to just listen and follow. So how do you work with the void? That's always a question. And see, I think this is the problem and the blockage, is that people fear the void. They fear the emptiness. See, since time immemorial, indigenous ancient cultures around the world have always went into the void. Even in ancient Greece, the oracles would sit in the darkness to develop their gifts. They never would just sit, out in the open, really. It was always like deep in a cave, deep in a space where it was dark. And even modern day mystics will create a closet and it's completely dark and they'll sit in there. And once you bypass the fear and the anxiety, then the visions can activate. And so you have to sit in meditation with the blackness, with no agenda. You just sit, breathe, and see how long you can do that. Set a timer. Don't go in there with your phone, then you'll just start scrolling. But if you go into the darkness, in the meditation, in the blackness, yes, set a timer outside the blackness. And when you come out, see how long you can last. See how long. And extend it every single time you do it. You breathe into the unknown. Like when you meditate, you just breathe and let it happen and let go of needing immediate answers. See, what happens a lot of times, especially when I start working with students, I'll notice a pattern and a habit that when they go in to just pure blackness, they want answers. And then they'll say, well, I didn't see anything. Well, that's advanced. Actually, when you stop seeing things and you stop wanting things and you stop needing things when you go into meditation, you're advancing. Because now you're really understanding what is meditation, what is the emptiness, what is the silence, what is the power of the void, and it's nothing. When you can go into nothing, that means you're getting into advanced meditation. When you're going in there always wanting to know, what am I supposed to do next? Where am I supposed to make money? No, that's you're still in your ego. You're still in anxiety. You're still in fear. You're still in a get and give thing. You're like, okay, well, I'm giving this much time. I should be getting this much. No, when you enter the spirit world, you never go in with an agenda. You don't go in with an agenda. Right here, right now, when you're working with the void, you want to go into the nothing. You can wear black, indigo, like a deep dark indigo, cosmic purple, colors that align with the mystery. That's why purple was always associated with royalty. Black absorbs, black connects you to the cosmos. And you don't ever use desperate words. When you're going into the void and into the mystery, don't ever say, I need, please help me. You go with powerful knowing. I am aligned with the unseen forces of creation. I am magnetic. I am powerful. I trust the void. I go in empty. If you do those things on a daily basis, you're going to see results. And this is a different kind of manifestation. It's not flashy. It's not ancient. It is ancient and it's real. It's not what people make up. If you have to think about it this way, if the law of attraction was as powerful as people say it is, and the methodologies used, why isn't it working on a massive scale? How many people are into the law of attraction and still struggling with whatever it is they're manifesting? And then when they do have something happen that's part of their destiny, it's, oh, well, I manifested that. But then when they have something that happens that they don't like, that is also part of their destiny, oh, we don't talk about those parts. We only talk about the good and we bypass the bad. And that's not how life works. Usually when you're really leveling up and you're really engaging in higher levels of mastery, you have to cross an initiation, a crossroads, a threshold. And that is not nice. That is like everything you don't want. Everything you don't want to manifest is when you go through an initiation. Your health, your money, your relationships, your family, your pets, your like everything you go through is an initiation. And you have to know how to handle those initiations. And the only way to know that is through going through the darkness, is going into and making it part of your practice. I'm going to sit with my fear. I'm going to sit with the darkness. I'm going to sit and get to know the great primordial mother, the ancient mother, the mother of darkness who gave birth to all of creation. That's what essentially going into a sweat lodge is. It's going into the womb of the mother, the great mother. It's a portal. It's a opening in the time-space continuum for you to go back to the beginning. So I've seen over and over and over again in ceremony in my own life where everything seems to fall apart, especially during eclipses, when there are no answers, when the old dissolves. And when that happens, I know there's something great happening. There's something great that's about to open. And when people come to me and say, Songbird, I've tried everything and nothing works. And it's like, okay, well, let's go into the unknown. Let's go into the void, the mystery. And then everything opens. The magnetism unlocks, doors open, unexpected abundance arrives. This is the power of the void as teacher. And when you go into the void, when you go into the great mystery, when you're willing to dive deep into the bones of who you are, that is when you can really manifest. And it actually, in modern terms, when we say manifest, what people are really talking about is spell work. That's the modern day, I guess, equivalent to spell work. Instead of saying, I'm going to do a spell, I'm going to manifest. But then it got mixed up with sort of this like new age positivity. Because, in the ancient spell work, when you do spell work, it's not positive. The thing about spell work, if you are somebody who does spells or rituals, the thing is, you have to remember, it's not about, you have to believe it. You have to believe you're working. But more importantly, you have to let it go. And that's what the great mystery is. That's the void. That's the trust. That's the letting it happen versus controlling it. So modern day manifestation, a lot of times why it doesn't work is because you're controlling what it is and the outcome versus planting the seed, watering it, and letting it go. You're trusting that the sunlight and the elements and all of creation is going to come nurture that seed and grow it, versus like, let me put it in the ground and let me check every 5 seconds to see if it's sprouting, and like a science project, and let me control the outcome. Manifestation spell work is much different than a science project, because in a science project, you're measuring every single element, the soil, the water, you're taking notes, you're documenting, you're having a scientific method. But even in the scientific method, there are unknowns, there are mystery elements that are actually, what heals, what your results are based on include the mysterious elements that they'll call a placebo effect, or they'll call something, like an outlier or something. But this is how creation works, is that just like a baby, a sperm and an egg come together and form a life. And sometimes that life makes it and sometimes it doesn't. But no one can control that. If they could control that, then, people could control their births much, much more than they do now. I mean, you can still go to like fertility clinic and it still won't work. I've known people who for 12 years went to fertility clinics and never got pregnant until they changed their spouse. Changed the spouse, instantly got pregnant. So it's biology, it's chemistry, it's God, it's the great mystery, it's the void, it's something that is beyond your control. And when you're talking about a physical object like a diamond necklace or a car or something like that, that's all about time and money, because you got to put the time to make money and plan. I mean, anybody can do that. You can save up. Somebody might give you a car. So there's a lot of ways to get a car, right? But when you're talking about your purpose, your destiny, that begins with knowing thyself. And then when you know yourself and you know who you are, you know what your path is, you know what you want, then time and money is the result, because you'll put the time into whatever it is that you need to do and you'll get the results, which a lot of times is money. It's the reward, it's the currency. But if you start with money and you don't put any time, and then even more importantly, you don't put any energy, the result is obvious. It's nothing. And so when you're talking about true manifestation, you have to think about time, money, energy. Those are the three ingredients. Everybody thinks I gotta go buy some apples and spices and candles. Those are just, the physical things that make it more real to the mind. The reason people use like candles and herbs and crystals and all that is that they do have an effect, but the effect is very minimal compared to your spiritual power that you build through the great mystery, which we call like manifesting. That's true manifestation. Thinking, hoping, dreaming, looking at is not, that's mediocre manifestation, because you're just, hoping for a new car or a new necklace. Or to manifest like a person, that's a little harder, but not necessarily. You can go to a bar, club, whatever, and find a person. But maybe you don't want that type of person. A meaningful life partner, that's a different manifestation than a one-night stand. So when you think about what you really want, the first thing you have to think about is, who am I? What is my purpose? What am I drawn to? What do I like? What have I always been into? What do I know I'm good at? What am I really bad at? And you know yourself. And then from there, you know what to manifest. What do I need? Okay, if I want to get a job, what do I need to actually get a job? The kind of job I want. What do I actually need to do? Do I need to go to school? Do I need to get a car? You might just need a car. You might need a place to live. You might need those foundational things. And then you start with that. And then you work on, manifesting bigger. You work at it one step at a time. But manifestation is just living your highest destiny. That's what it is. And whether you do that through hard work, effort, you're also going to need the great mystery, because you can work your butt off and get nowhere, or you can attract and magnetize and work your butt off and get everywhere. You need both. You need them in balance. You can't be all work and no play, and all play and no work. You need a balance, and that balance is different for everyone. So during this very powerful eclipse season, I wanted to go into this subject of the great mystery, the great void. I also have a meditation coming up. So whenever you're catching this podcast, be sure to check that out because it goes hand in hand with this teaching. And, just remember that as you're going into the void, don't rush to fill the silence. Don't run from the silence, but instead let it teach you. The void is your teacher. And if you feel called to go deeper into this work with me, be sure to book your one-on-one ceremony or private session. Thank you for listening to the Empowered Healers podcast. If this episode spoke to you, share it, leave a review, make sure you subscribe so that you can know when the future episodes will come out. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Meditation Monday. Every Monday night, we go into a different meditation. Right now, in this series, we're going into ancestral healing, and we're preparing for the powerful season of October when the spirit veils open, and this is the time for real manifestation. So until we meet again, remember, the void is not empty. It's the beginning of everything. Don't stop believing. Many blessings. Aho.